This is the day that the Lord has made, and good evening to everyone. We are so grateful and thankful that you are on our family table Thursdays. We're grateful for you being on today. Good evening to you. Happy New Year for those who I haven't seen. And in this year, we wish you a blessed and a prosperous and an awesome, wonderful new year. And I'm great to be continuing our family table Thursdays conversation. We had a great discussion conversation for you on today, in store for you on today. We again want you to visit our website, www.damonepauljohnson.com/resources, and to pick up your copy of my latest book, Bonded Love: How God's Love Shines Through Imperfect Relationships. The fact of the matter is that we are bonded to God's love. God has made a conscious decision to love us, regardless of our attitude, actions, or articulation, our conduct. It is a choice. God is committed to love us. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but shall have everlasting life. God is tied to us, his love. And that love, when we really tap into it, is able to shine through our relationships. The vertical connection of love is able to shine through our horizontal level of relationships. In the eastern continent, in the village on the eastern part of the continent of Africa, it was known for its porcelain urns. The urns were about a table high and a chair wide. And this master craftsman was able to shape and to craft these beautiful urns made of porcelain. Many people would come from all over the continent of Africa and even the world to see these urns be crafted. In this particular village, this master craftsman was shaping and molding this urn, and he had a crowd around him. And just as he was finished with the urn, he put it above his head and threw it on the ground, breaking it into many pieces. One of the tourists said, oh no, you've broken this beautiful urn. Now understand, now that which was beautiful was now broken. That was great and massive is now a mess. And for many of us, that is an illustration of our relationships. Could be in marriage, could be parent and child, could be brother and sister, that it used to be so great and now it's gruesome. It used to be beautiful, now it's broken and fractured. And the fact of the matter is that this year, last year we were looking for, maybe for many of us, some changes, some shifts, some improvements in relationships, and actually things were broken, things are fractured. But understand that while the tourist was upset about that, the master craftsman took some filigree and he gathered all the broken pieces of the urn, took this beautiful golden filigree and put it around the broken pieces. And so the filigree not only acted as a design or a decoration, but it actually acted as glue that held the broken pieces together. And so where there were broken pieces, it was pieces of golden filigree. And now what was broken was now beautiful, actually more valuable after the breaking, after the fracture than before. And beloved, I wrote Bonded Love to express to you that many of us, all of us at some point have some broken relationships, but God is able to take the filigree of his love and his grace and make that which was fractured and make it fresh and gorgeous, that which was broken and make it beautiful and have even more value after the breaking than before. That's what the book is all about, how God can really put us back together again. Tremaine Hawkins sings a song that says, in case you have fallen by the wayside of life, dreams and visions shatter, you're all broken inside. You don't have to stay in the shape that you're in. The potter wants to put you back together again. In case your situation has gone on the ground and all that you've accomplished is now on the ground, you don't have to stay in the shape that you're in. Why? Because the potter wants to put you back together again. You who are broken, stop by. You who need mending, stop by the potter's house. Give him the fragments of your broken life. The potter wants to put you back together again. And so if you want to know more about this potter who's able to take broken pieces of and fragments of our relationships and our lives and put them back together again with the filigree of his love and grace, I encourage you to get this book. It's off, again, Bonded Love. You can order it today, DamonePaulJohnson.com. It will bless your life. I am excited today to have Don and Dorcey Applyrs, Dr. Don Applyrs and Dr. Dorcey Applyrs with us on today. And it is so great to have them. Dr. Don Applyrs is Managing Director and Network Expansion of NAV and works in the field of education and doing a phenomenal job with that. And Dr. Dorcey, and he serves also as a deacon in our church, Metropolitan New Testament Mission Baptist Church. Dr. Dorcey Applyrs is the city auditor of Albany, the capital of New York, and is doing a tremendous job. She is a former Common Council member, and of course is a community leader. And we thank God for both of them. They are dear friends of Sister Johnson, Lady Angela, and I, and we are just excited to have them on today. Just great. If you don't know them, they are absolutely great persons to know. They love the Lord, they love family, and they have two beautiful daughters who we Noble and Niall, who are just absolutely awesome and dear to us. And so I would just want us to get started. Thank you, first of all, both of you, for being on, to taking the time out to be with us on our Thursday table meetings. And I want to talk about, how long have you been married, and how long did you date before you got engaged?
Well, thank you, Pastor, first for this invitation and to join you on the family table talk, and certainly greetings to everyone out there watching. I'm going to default to my wife for this question, because I always put her on the spot to see if she remembers.
And that's the only reason he's defaulting to me. So I will kick us off and say, Pastor, we are, in terms of marriage, we are going on our 13th year.
Awesome.
And Pastor, you were there. You and Sister Johnson, thank you so much for agreeing to marry us in Punta Cana back in 2010. So thank you so much, Pastor, for that. And then in terms of how long we dated,
it was about 5 years. 4.5 years we dated, and then were engaged for a little over a year. So almost 6 years before we were married.
Awesome. Now, what was the attraction at the inception? And go ahead.
I'll turn that over to him.
Oh, you're going to defer now? Okay, I get it. That's
what she does. So the attraction. So at the time when we met, we actually met at a birthday party. And so through a mutual friend, and a mutual friend had introduced us, just kind of like casually just introduced us, nothing, intentional or anything like that. But I had noticed immediately that she wasn't from around here. I could hear the Southern twang in her voice, and kind of tell by her demeanor that she was, not native to Albany or New York. And so, we chatted a bit, and learned that she was from DC, and I was like, oh, okay, like, she's cute, she's pretty, she's got a nice smile, and let me see where this goes. So that was, one thing led to another. I had asked her to dance with me at the party, but she rejected me, a couple of times. But I was persistent, as the word says, to be persistent, and so we eventually shared a dance, and then exchange numbers and remain in contact after that.
Okay.
Can I add to that, Pastor?
Yes, absolutely. Please do.
What was the attraction?
Well, I want to speak to the sisters right now, because the backstory is that I was asked to come to this party, and I really wasn't going to go. I did not want to go. And my classmates kept pushing me to come to this party. And how I understand it, Don wasn't going to go either. And his friends were pushing him to come to the party. And for the sisters, I'll be honest to say, I was single and very lonely. I had been in Albany as a new student. I didn't know too many people. It was cold. We met February 19th, so it was freezing.
Oh, okay.
And it was just a very lonely time for me. And I was seeking companionship, but wanted the right companionship. So when we met at the party, it just so happened that we both were, as they say, in the right place at the right time.
Isn't it amazing how God orders your steps and your stops to meet persons and kind of I call them divine prearrangements that you're not looking for, but God just kind of does that as you flow in God's will. Now, and that's an important point you bring out, Dorcey, because sometimes we have preconceived ideas of who we want and how we want to meet them, and that. How did you know that Don was the one, and vice versa?
That took some time for me. Don was very upfront from the beginning that he felt that I was the one for him. On my end, I had so many bad experiences with men that I was not easily trusting. In fact, I was very guarded, very hard. And so for Don, he was very persistent because I would give him just maybe an inch in at a time. And so I think just some signs that, God was really working with me and softening my heart towards him. Things like when I went to his dorm room for the first time, he had pictures of his family, his nieces and nephews. So his dorm room, it wasn't like a bachelor pad. It was actually like he lived in an apartment with his family surrounding. I was clear that he was a family man. So that spoke to me as someone who was looking for someone who wanted a family. When he would pick me up, he would open the door.
He's a gentleman. That's great.
He was a gentleman. There was no rush to do anything. It was really following my lead. And I gave him a very hard way to go.
Oh yes.
So it was just little nuggets over the course of us dating and our friendship first. Things like I would be in the library for a very long time, and Don would come and get the keys to my apartment, and I would come home, and my apartment would be cleaned, and there would be groceries in my refrigerator.
Oh wow!
Okay, that was not something that I had been used to.
We were in grad school. Let me preface this: we were in grad school.
We were in grad school, and and I'll wrap up with two things. Something as simple as for those who know me, I'm a big foodie. And we went on a date and I ordered a banana split, and I have a very particular way I like my banana splits.
Okay.
And so the next time we went on a date to get ice cream, I said, well, I'm going to go in with you because I want to order my banana split. And he said, well, I know exactly how you like it. And I said, there's no way you know exactly how I like my banana split. It's very complicated. So when he came back, I of course, assessed that banana split, and it was perfect. So I was like, oh, this man really listened to me. So he later disclosed that he had a cheat sheet. He wrote down the way I like my banana split, and he kept it in his wallet. So just little thoughtful gestures. And then lastly, I'll say we went to church together. And I was really struggling at that time. Don wanted to be in a more committed relationship, and I wasn't sure if that's what I wanted. And we went to Pastor Bernard Bryant. Is it Pastor A.R. Bernard? A.R. Bernard's church in Brooklyn. And we were sitting near the stage, and it was almost as if he looked at me and he said, some of you are crying that you're starving, but you have a loaf of bread in your arms. And that was God's way of being very clear to me that you say you want this relationship, you say you want a good man, all of these things you said that you wanted, and I packaged it here for you and yet you're still crying that you're starving. I've given you a loaf of bread. And that is when I finally agreed to be in a committed relationship with Don.
Okay. Now, Don, how were you feeling when Dorcey was giving you this hard time?
Well, at first it was, to be honest, I didn't feel like frustrated or anything early on, and that's how I knew. Like, I knew that, I wanted to take the time. I wanted to really, go slow and really, like she said, kind of take the lead. I wasn't, looking to be intimate or anything like that. And so that was an indication for me that I really was into her and who she was and what she presented. She was in grad school pursuing, her master's. She's ambitious, goal oriented, spiritual, has a relationship with the Lord. And so those were some of the things that I found to be gap fillers in some areas, and actually pushed me a little bit in terms of, pursuing a little bit more, right? Being a little bit more ambitious, but also assessing my own relationship with God. Because one of the things that she shared as we were kind of courting, she said she wanted someone who had, a relationship with God, who knew the Lord. I grew up going to church, but I wasn't necessarily in relationship. So it really helped me to assess my own personal walk. And that's how those were some of the things that really were an indication to me that, wow, like, this is someone who's really special and who is enriching my life in just so many different ways. And I was automatically just imagining what a lifetime would be with her.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm going to ask, if you're watching, to like or to share, and to even have let someone else know that we are on. And again, we encourage you. This conversation is born out of our new book, Bonded Love: How God's Love Shines Through Imperfect Relationships. You can go on www.damontpauljohnson.com/resources and pick up your latest copy. It will be a blessing in your life. We are blessed to have Doctors Don and Dorcey Applyrs. And Don, now tell me about this banana split. Now you was thoughtful. You was talking about attention to detail.
Well, it was so she loves her banana split, where she has chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry, right?
Okay.
Wait,
Not chocolate.
no, I'm sorry, cookies and cream. It's been a while since I had to order it, so it's been a few years since we had to order it. But no, it's a banana split with her ice cream, with the cookies and cream, strawberry, and chocolate. And she has her particular toppings that she has to have on each one, which is strawberries on the strawberries, and marshmallow on the cookies and cream, and Oreo. So it's very intricate. So there have been times where I've made a mistake.
Very particular, very
particular. There have been times where I've forgot or made a mistake over the years and said, I don't want it, I'm not going to eat it.
Oh wow.
It's that particular.
It's that deep.
So,
okay. All right.
Yeah, it's that deep.
Okay.
So I had to make sure I got it right.
So you scored some major points by getting that banana split right.
Yes, he did.
And I did keep it written in my wallet for many years.
That's awesome. Now, what were there any fears going into marriage? Any misgivings or fears? Not even about the person, but fears. Maybe something from the past or something within you. Did you experience any of that? I
think as we were kind of courting, I think there was a time in the courtship and when we were dating, that there was that discussion, right? Okay.
First of all, you said courtship. That's a whole nother level. So the language. I like you use that language, courtship.
So, during that time, there was that conversation, the conversation that always comes up in, committed relationships is, the when. Like, so where are we going with this, right? We've been here 3.5 years, 4 years. Like, what's your plan? What is this? And, there was that one conversation like, well, if we're not advancing or moving the relationship, then then what are we really doing? So initially for me, there was the anxiety of conceding to like social norms, right? Of course, Dorcey, at the time we were about, 27, 28. And, of course it's the biological clock. It's, well, all my friends are getting married. It's like, well, I'm not prescribing to societal norms, right? I can only move when I receive confirmation, within myself to say, you know what, this is the time in which you move forward. So so for me, it was necessary a fear or anxiety, but waiting for that confirmation and receiving it.
Good. Dorcey?
I didn't really have any fear. I
Okay.
think we had spent so much time, as Don said, courting and getting to know each other. We had a good grasp on who we were individually, and then we knew who we were together. I was definitely the one saying, okay, are we doing this at this point? You've done all of this to get me. Now, what are we doing here? And so I was applying the pressure, and so much so that I basically shared with him one day that, if we weren't going in the direction of marriage, I was going to move back to DC. And so I was making preparation to transition back to DC prior to him proposing.
Okay.
It was like a movie. I don't know, like Love Jones / Different World, or Dwayne and Whitley.
But look what happened.
Right.
What happened. So
Right.
It worked out 13 years later.
Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. All relationships have humps and bumps. And was there anything in your past experiences that you think has prepared you and helped you through those humps and bumps? Or what is it that has sustained and helped you? And I asked that question because one of the chapters in my book says that love is able to overcome all things. And so from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, love bears all things, endures all things. And one of the things that we have to endure in any kind of relationships are humps and bumps, twists and turns. And so what is it that has sustained you through that?
It's a great question. I think for me, as you kind of asked about like the past, I think for me, what was influential was the examples that I had. Obviously I grew up in a single parent household with my mom, but my older brother, who's 10 years older than me, went on to get married and have a family. My sister went on to get married and have a family. So I had examples of marriage growing up and just seeing them in their relationships. And I think what has really helped in terms of navigating some of the, the weathery aspects of marriages, having examples of other married couples to be able to share and discuss and have conversations. I think we've been very intentional about, having experienced couples in our lives to be able to gain advice, because, they've seen some things, and, all, as you said, all relationships, have their storms, have their challenges, but certainly having the ability to, lean on individuals who are like-minded, those who are Christian, those who are going to give sound counsel to kind of navigate some of those things. And that's certainly important. I would advise any, young married couple, or just, married, 5 years, just to always have an example, or at least have some folks that have been in the game a little longer, the veterans that you can certainly talk to and lean on to have those conversations and to really help navigate, some of the challenging times, because they are going to come. I think, that's inevitable, and, can't assume that, everything is perfect. Right.
Yes, absolutely. Dorcey?
And to the contrary, I didn't have those models, so many models in my immediate family, those in my community of Black couples. who were married and married for extended time. A lot of my peers, we were all born and raised in single family households with our mother. So I did not know when when Donna and I would talk, and I would say, this is what my ideal man looks like. This is what an ideal marriage looks like. It was really me piecing together what I thought based on whether it was what I learned spiritually, or my mentor who I met in college, who took the time to mentor me, and she was married young. So that was the model that I had in college. And so she would, and my dear friend who married young. So I had those two. As Don and I were dating, they were helping me navigate, and they're both in Christian relationships. So that's where I really received mentorship and guidance. And then my faith is what has helped to sustain us through some very, very, very difficult times throughout our marriage. And so as I look at the evolution, as Don pointed out, it's been some strong Christian couples. And I want to, if I could, just give a quick shout out to brother Sam Caldwell and sister Yolanda Caldwell, who have been instrumental in helping to counsel us even at this stage of our marriage. When tough times have come, they have helped us tremendously. So leaning to people who we trust, number one, who have a spiritual connection, and who are there to provide wise counsel.
Awesome. This has been such a great and refreshing conversation. I want to thank both of you again for taking the time out to be with us. And the comments are just coming in, just awesome comments. And you're helping so many people who are married, are new in marriage, maybe been in it for a while, or are looking to be married. You have truly, by sharing and being transparent and open and honest with your experience, you have been a blessing. So I want to thank you for that. And again, please pick up your copy if you haven't of Bonded Love. If you have your copy, maybe share it with someone. I know Christmas is over, but you can still share it as a gift. Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Somebody's birthday, or just a gift at an unexpected gift at an unexpected time for unexpected reason. Bonded Love, How God's Love Shines Through Imperfect Relationships, DamonePaulJohnson.com. Join us on next Thursday as well. We're going to have a great conversation and continue these family table Thursdays. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening.